Welcome in. So this is what we want to be able to do in this video. We want to have the ability to animate our secant lines on any function. Let's try to see how to do that. Let's get started. So first of all, you can pick any function that you like, that you want to be able to connect, okay, and create a secant for. So we can make it random completely. Let's say 0.5, I don't know, x cubed. Say plus, let's make it a little bit more funky. So 3x squared, minus 4. Okay, I'll zoom in here, stretch it out. Okay, so we'll have something like this. So that's the first thing. Now, a secant is going to be a line between 2 points, and it's restricted between those 2 particular points. So now we want to have those 2 points in place. Okay, so how you designate those points doesn't matter. So let's say, I'll call this A1. Okay, so this is going to be my x value for my first point. Started off at 0. Since we are going to want to animate, not just have it for one single point, so you can put it at a range. So within here, let's say minus 10, okay, all the way up to 10. You can put the step size if you like. Okay, I'll put 0.01. If you won't fill it up, Desmos will do it for you. So that's going to be my first one. Now the second point, so I guess I'll put A2, and this is going to be, so again, started at 0, we'll do the same thing, repeated. So those are going to be my 2 values between those 2 particular points. Now, so those points I want to be able to plot right on. So to plot a point, so this is going to be A1, so comma, FA at A1. All right, so there it is. It's plotted in there. And now that point, you can shift around and notice that the A, so I'm actually grabbing the screen, or you can animate it directly, okay, so through going on the left-hand side. So now you've animated your point. Okay, so that's one of the points. The second point, this is going to be A2. So now what you call them, A1, A2, doesn't matter. So here is my second point. All right, so now I have 2 points. So there you go. So there's one, okay, and then here's the other. Now the only thing is you can really just animate at one point at a time. You can kind of just grab both of them. So you're going to be going back and forth. So those are my 2 points. All right, so now let's say I wanted to create a secant between those 2 particular points. So how do we do that? Well, once you have 2 points, you know that you can create a slope, right? You can find the slope. So now my slope, so let's call it M, is going to be the definition, which is rise over run. So that's going to be, so F, okay, I'm going to grab it from A2, so I'm going to be consistent here. So A2 minus, this is going to be F at A1. Okay, so this is what I have. Now I want to put this entire thing, so I'm going to put it in brackets. So entirely, so you can see that happening there, because I want to put it over, and then my x value, so A2 minus A1. And that is the slope between those 2 points. Okay, so nothing special there. So now you have your slope, right? You have 2 points, so you have more than you need. You can find the y-intercept. So finding the y-intercept comes from your equation of a line. So y is equal to mx plus b. You isolate for b, so b is going to be equal to your y value. Now just pick a point that you want to have. So let's say f, okay, and this is at A1, A1. So that's my y, right, minus the slope, okay, at that particular point, so A1 right there. And now you have your b-intercept. So as you can guess, what we're going to be doing next is we want to be plotting that line. So this is going to be y is equal to, so your slope, right, mx plus your b, which you have, and now you have found your actual tangent, right? Your actual line that goes through those 2 points. So not a big deal. Now notice I can animate this already by dragging one or the other, okay? So now we're pretty much done. This is exactly what we wanted to do in terms of finding the secant, and you can animate this for students or if you're a student. Now, if you want the secant directly, because secant is a finite line, so it's between one point and another, then you do have to restrict this line. So now in terms of restricting it, well, you can restrict it between the points, right? Now, this is a little tricky because if you're going to move this, line, so let's say this point passes through the other point, you want to be able to have your restrictions, okay, set in case you actually go over the points, right? Like, so if this one, okay, if you're always going to keep this one on the left and then always keep this one on the right, then you can just restrict it between A1 and A2. But if A2 is on the left of A right of A1, then it's going to create a mess for you. Okay, so within here, so I'm going to just show you. So this is A1. All right, so this is between X and A2. So this is going to be my first kind of definition. So this works fine as long as you have, so this is exactly what we wanted, as long as you keep 1 point on the right, 1 point on the left. But if you now swing this point, notice what happens, right? Because now the secant doesn't exist because you've restricted between A1 and A2, and so X can't fall in there. So what I like to do is, in case this happens, so I'm not showing it to students and it backfires on me, so I'm going to remove this restriction for the moment, and I'm going to set so that I know which one is my maximum and then my minimum. All right, so which one's on the left, which one's on the right. So how do you do that? So I'm going to say, all right, so let X, okay, I'm going to call it minimum, is equal to, now you can use the function, so minimum, okay, so you can open that up from functions, or you can write minimum, open bracket, I'm going to put a list, so this is of A1, okay, comma A2. So this will take the maximum, or sorry, the minimum point between those two, which in this case, I guess it's going to be the A1 value for the moment. And then I'll do the same thing. So X is going to be max and equal to, and now max between those 2 points, so A and 2. There we have it. And now when I restrict, so I will restrict between the minimum, so X, okay, min, and then this is going to be, okay, X, and so this is X max. Now, by the way, in order to write those subscripts, as you see there, the minimum or the maximum, you can put in, okay, so as you're typing out in your keyboard, so it's the underscore. So if you hit the underscore, it will actually put it as a subscript. All right, so that underscore is simply beside typically your plus and equal sign button. So you have a dash and then you have an underscore. Okay, so you want to use the underscore there. And now you have basically animated your secant. So there you go. You can go in this direction, okay, or you can swing this over, and notice because of the max and min, now it all nicely works, so you can create any secant you want. The great advantage is, of course, you can switch your functions and still continue. So all of this works for any function that you choose, so long as the function actually exists, okay, in that particular point, and then you can find the secants between those 2 points. I can switch the function in here. So for instance, okay, so notice if I do this, I can even put, say, sine x. Right, let me blow this up just so that you can see, and notice, beautiful, I can continue on with the secant within the boundaries that I put in. You can put anything. So x, I don't know, just squared. All right, so here again, go in here. So notice that it creates my secant. So this is for any function that you like. Thanks for watching. See you in a future video. Hope this helped you. Bye, everybody.